Hi, I'm Alison from Alison's Astrology, and I'm here to talk to you today about the week that begins Sunday, 24th of November and goes through till Saturday, the 30th. So this is the last week of November, and we've had the Pluto into Aquarius, so that may have been an eventful week for you, maybe reconnecting with friends or something. That's always a great Pluto Aquarius theme. Or maybe you were interacting with technology in a new way too. That's also something. But maybe just generally something moved forward that you had been waiting to happen for a while. So if that's the case for you, good luck with that. So the big thing this week is Mercury retrograde. I mean, everyone just goes, "Oh no, surely not again. Is it that time already?" And unfortunately, it is, and that happens on Tuesday, the 26th. I'm pretty sure. Let me just check that. Yeah, Tuesday the 26th, really early in the morning. So you're probably, that's in the UK and Europe, so you're probably going to get the sense of this as it's really stationing from the 25th. And maybe you're already starting to feel it a bit, just a bit unsettled, things not going quite as smoothly as you'd hoped. So Mercury retrograde, I mean, there's a whole list of things that astrologers always advise, during Mercury retrograde. So I'll quickly just whip through those. So Mercury is our planet of thought and communication. He's the closest planet to the sun. So he's the trickster planet, actually. He carries messages. He's also in charge of travel. So if you've got any travel plans between the, what did I say, 26th of November and the 15th of December, when he starts going direct again, then make sure you double check them. Double check that you've got the right tickets. Double check that you know how the whole thing's gonna go. Make sure you check you've got passport, ID cards, whatever you need for that. And just before you leave the house, probably just check that actually the train or the plane is running, because that can be an issue too. And leave extra time. Obviously, that goes without saying. Leave extra time for, the trip to the airport and stuff. So, yeah. And also, obviously, take a chill pill before you leave. Cars can be an issue, breakdowns, things like that. Communications, so check your emails. What are you sending? Has it got the right address on it? Make sure you don't accidentally press send before you are ready to, those kinds of things. And also maybe just sit on it for a minute, sleep on whatever you're sending to make sure that what you're saying is what you really want to say and what you should be saying. Because there is a temptation, especially in Sagittarius, which is so kind of honest and forthright, to sound off a bit. So just pay attention there. But it's a great time for reorganizing and rethinking, and maybe even planning journeys ahead that you want to take, because you can be thinking about that travel abroad, Sagittarius, your next adventure, and getting all the information that you need for that. Rethinking, reviewing, and in such, just finding meaning really in stuff, all the things that you've been through this year. So in Sagittarius, this Mercury retrograde is going to be especially important for Sag. Of course, Sagittarius sun signs, Gemini and Virgo as well, because Mercury rules those. Maybe Pisces, because that's on the square of the axis, the other mutable sign. Also, as anyone who's got ascendants in those signs too will be impacted. But I mean, Mercury is always important for all of us. We've all got Mercury in our charts, and we'll take a look in a minute about where it fits in the houses and what that might mean depending where it falls in your own birth chart. So I think one of the important things to always remember with these planetary transits and movements is that, there is, we believe as astrologers, a kind of unified purpose behind everything. There's a reason why Mercury is going retrograde. And maybe that is because or we're supposed to be taking a step back and just having a rethink. And the Mercury retrogrades have been mostly in fire signs this year. So we're looking at about our intuition, what we're sort of moving towards, our confidence, things like that. And so maybe that's takes a bit of a knock with Mercury retrograde, and we need to just reevaluate, rethink, and just try and find the meaning that has been sort of inherent in everything that's happened this year. I think it's been a difficult year for a lot of people, actually. So what were we supposed to learn there? Mercury's about learning. And this period, these 3 weeks are really about considering that, because we're all in that process of growth and changing with the universe. So we need to actually kind of every now and again just take time to process so that we can go back into the world and move forward in a more positive way, in a more confident way, knowing that we've got kind of consolidated something inside of us and we understand a little bit more where we're coming from. Yeah, so as I said, how this relates to you personally is going to depend a bit on the area of the chart it falls in. So if you pull up your chart, and you just need your birth time as well as the date and place. So if you don't have your chart, look on astro.com and have a look and see where 22 degrees of Sagittarius falls, because that's the degree at which Mercury is turning retrograde. And if that's in the first house, then that's going to be all about how you approach the world. So Sagittarius in the first house on the ascendant is very much about being out there normally. It's up for an adventure. It will depend a bit on where Jupiter is in your chart, but I mean, that's the vibe, they take the big picture and there's a general kind of optimism that things have some sense behind them and some meaning. So with Mercury retrograde there, you're maybe going to be thinking a lot about this and trying to work through what the meaning is. Maybe you're a little bit more serious than usual. I mean, Sagittarius season is usually party season. And now, the universe has put Mercury retrograde right in the middle of it. So what does that mean? Maybe there's a new filter on you looking out at the world. Something's changed, something's altered, something's shifted, and you need time to process that. And it's important. And it's important too with Mercury retrograde in Sag, and this is important for everybody, to really keep the faith that there is some sense behind everything. So in the second house, you're looking at values and resources, finances maybe, and even maybe our self-worth. If it's going backwards in the second house, maybe we're feeling that, do we really have that self-worth? Do we really have confidence in ourselves? Are we as great as we thought we were? Or, can we do what we thought we wanted to do? So this is about consolidating actually that self-worth and just linking into who we really are and our confidence and the things that give us confidence in that second house. And if it's about finances, it might be about connecting and consolidating with our finances. Maybe we need to make a new plan about that. Or maybe we're thinking about how to use those resources that we have in a way that can give meaning to the world and maybe help other people. There's another thought. So in the third house, we're always looking at communication and about our immediate environment and siblings as well. So if there's been a bit of a hiccup there, you've fallen out with somebody, this could be time to reconnecting with friends, maybe getting more or perhaps even less involved with the local community. How's that sort of affecting you? Is there stuff that you can tap into there? Are there people, that would like to hear from you? So that's something to think about. And also in communication, maybe you need to take a pause in your social media. You might be looking at how you communicate and trying to make that deeper, perhaps with Mercury retrograde there, maybe to give it more depth and more meaning. In the fourth house, Mercury retrograde in Sag is going to be about home, maybe your parents, especially perhaps your father. So if you have an elderly father, perhaps he's needing your help right now, maybe that's something that you're going to have to adjust and you're going to have to alter your home circumstances to deal with that and to bring that in so you can accommodate that. Maybe your relationship to all these things have been changing this year, your home life and your parents, and you're looking to understand what's happening and maybe to reorganize your home life to accommodate it all. Yeah, or maybe you can even be thinking about maybe changing your home, moving home at this point. And that's certainly, you know, something to be considered and to be thinking about if that's if Mercury's in the fourth house at this time. But just another word of warning there, don't sign contracts until after the 15th of December, or if you must, then read everything really carefully. There's often a thing about having to do everything twice or getting caught in something that you didn't really appreciate was, you know, or has another level, somebody, you know, trying to trick you a little bit. So Mercury is the trickster after all. So moving on to the fifth, it's about self-expression, what you create, what you find joy in, the house of joy. You know, this is the natural house of the sun, and it includes children as well. About, you know, things that you make, painting, crafts, all those kind of wonderful things. But just expression in general, so that could be music or dance or just how you want to bring yourself into the group. What have you got to offer? And maybe, especially with Pluto in Aquarius, this is a time for thinking about that. You know, how are we going to interact with the group? How can we bring meaning and, you know, bring our meaning into the group situation? How do we express ourselves in society, you know, with depth and feeling, you know, with some faith? In the sixth house, it's going to be about health. So, you know, if you've got Mercury retrograde in the sixth house, it could be time to have a checkup or something. Just go and maybe get some blood tests or whatever it is you thought you might do, but have been putting off, you know. Especially Mercury rules the lungs, and so could be, you know, to do with breathing issues. You know, if you've had problems with those kinds of areas, it's worth getting those checked up just to make sure. But it's also as well about the rituals of your everyday life. You know, are they really serving you now? You know, are you finding meaning in those? And I keep coming back to the word meaning because that's Sagittarius, you know, finding meaning, finding space, finding adventure. Are they serving you? Or do you need to think how you might sort of adjust your everyday life to make it a bit more exciting, a bit more adventurous? Again, maybe you're just consolidating something there, something that you've been working on, and you need to just go back and edit it, you know, to before it sort of leaves the world, because Sag can also be via Jupiter about publishing too and putting things out there. So in the seventh house, then Mercury retrogrades going back through the house of relationships and also how the world in general sees you. So relationships, do you need to negotiate some stuff here? You know, do you need to think things through? Do you need to spend time talking with your partner about how you want to move forward as a couple, or even maybe with friends? The seventh is also about sort of open enemies too. So is it time to actually, you know, come together with them and see if you can actually find some common ground, and some sort of understanding between you so that you can move on in a more positive way. And in the eighth house, we're looking more at joint finances, how we sort of spend time and share our values. Could be a time of transformation, you know, what needs to be sort of transformed in your shared value system, or, you know, the finances that you have with your partner, perhaps. Maybe it's about some inheritance or something like that, that, you know, you're trying to work through. There's a lot of paperwork perhaps to do with that. That's a possibility too. And, you know, there's always this idea anyway with the eighth of like digging down deeply, and that's even more the case with Mercury retrograde, you know, digging down and trying to find out what's underneath. Is there hidden stuff there, hidden meaning, hidden things that you need to kind of pull out and make sense of? Could be family issues too. Yeah, so in the ninth, it's very much about our faith and our long journeys again, our adventures, you know. Maybe something's being held up, you're not able to go on that adventure or long journey you wanted to. So maybe instead you need to look at other ways of expanding your, you know, expanding your mindset, expanding your consciousness. Looking at, I don't know, things like, courses? Is there stuff you might want to sign up for in the new year? So investigating, spending time investigating, all that kind of thing. Or as I said earlier with the third, planning that next journey. That's also a great thing to do with Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius. And in the 10th, it's going to be about rethinking your career and your public image. Are you going to the places that you want to be going to? Is there a setback? Do you need to communicate and present yourself differently? Are there documents that you need to really examine? Because Jupiter obviously is over there in Gemini in the opposite sign. So how is all this sort of impacting you? It could be about your mum too in the 10th house. Do you need to be spending more time with her, or maybe reconnecting with her, or a mother figure, something like that? But just generally about how you're seen in the world and this career that you have. Is it all you want it to be? Simply, is it serving you? Is it giving your life meaning? Those are the questions here. In the 11th, it's very much about groups and the societies and associations that we belong to in the wider community. So maybe you're looking at those and thinking, how can you participate a little bit more? Or maybe you want to withdraw from some of the ones because you feel that, they're no longer relevant. You're going to be moving on. Pluto now in Aquarius, so different set of people, a different set of groups perhaps. And in the 12th, if Mercury is retrograde in the 12th, then this is probably a time when you need to go inside and start working on something that, or reworking something that you're going to put out when it comes in the new year, probably when everything, including Jupiter and Mars, which is yet to go retrograde, is going to be direct again. So this could be a time for just going and sort of, not hibernating, but going into retreat a little bit, sort of, connecting maybe with other worlds too, with the unconscious, with spending time meditating and just wondering and thinking and exploring the possibilities that you have and the possibilities that are out there sort of beyond our material world too. And maybe then bringing these into your life when Mercury goes direct again. So lots and lots to think about. And it can be a really positive time, and it should be seen like that. So if you're really fed up because you were planning all kinds of things and you think now they're not going to happen because of different hiccups, well, feel about reconnecting with people and just spending the time processing. That time's important too. Connecting with our dreams, that's a great 12th house thing. So that's the biggest thing this week. As we move on the 26th, the Sagittarius Sun's going to make a lovely harmonious aspect to the nodes. So that should be just a positive day for putting your energy out there a little bit, despite the Mercury retrograde. And on the 27th, 28th, Venus is squaring Chiron. So Venus about our relationships and our values, and Chiron, it can be about where we hurt, it can be things that are really difficult or painful. So there could be something there that we're going to need to work through, perhaps something difficult with someone we love, or with our sense of who we are and our own values and self-worth. So something else to consider too. But it moves on, and we grow and we evolve, and then next Sunday, we'll have the new moon. So we have a new cycle to look forward to in Sagittarius. So join me for that next Sunday, the 1st of December. Thanks very much. And I hope to see you then.